This is the Atlas MFB. I was going through the comment section on the Atlas milling machine vertical attachment that I made here, and someone across the comment that said, hey, he'd like to know more about the Atlas milling machine itself. So I'm going to give a brief history on this, and it started in 1941. Atlas produced milling machines. Now, when they produced these milling machines, how you can know the difference between a newer one and a early one is this. The countershaft here has a two-step pulley system. Now, the early models had a four-step configuration. You still had the two-step right here. Okay? So what you would do is you would move your shaft out, and then you would put the desired step in place. I looked on the internet. I've only found a few guys that did this on YouTube, and so I don't know if it's the proper way to do it. Just take it with a grain of salt. But because you had the four-step configuration, you actually had 16 speeds. Now the newer styles, which this one is, it only has 8 speeds. But the added advantage is this is more geared towards lower speeds, so you get more torque versus the early ones, which were a mixture of higher RPM and a medium low torque band. So if you come here to the Atlas speed chart, you go down to 62 to 2870 RPM on the high range. So, you know, at 62, you're really hogging out some material there. So this right here is the change-o-matic. So how this works is you pull this knob out here, you adjust it right here, and it adjusts to what the feed rate on the table you would want, because this is a automatic feed table. Now right here are the gears that when you select this, it's going to transfer it to say, hey, this is what speed you want the table to go on down the shaft here. This right here is interesting. I talked to a lot of old timers at work. They didn't know what it was. I got the manual finally, and it didn't exactly explain what it was, just explain how to take it apart. So I actually found on a website that's called lathe.com UK, and they speak of the Atlas milling machines and how they function and all that. But what was even better was another website that I found called DougsMachiningPage.com, or you can look up Doug's Machine Shop. Now these articles are very old, but one of them had a overview of a very old diagram, which someday I would like to get and blow up. But it says right there, universal drive gear slide lock nut. So you loosen this up, okay, and you can slide this gear over, and when you do so, what happens is whatever the RPM is you got set on your machine, you can actually make the automatic feed either slower or higher, which gives you more of a gear range to select from. So I thought that was pretty cool. Plus, what kind of baffled me too is if you look at the teeth, they're offset from each other, so they will not actually mesh right up. And see how I did that? See how I moved that? So if I take this nut and I loosen it, it'll actually put it to the Cruise-O-Matic setting, and it will change the speed of which the table is moving, either slower or higher, one or the other. I do not like that slop, by the way, but that's just the way it goes. I wish there was a bushing or something on it that would keep it from doing that, but it doesn't have one, so that's just the way it is. Now, this little guy right here was a nice Christmas present I got. What that does is right in here, just like the South Bend lathe, you have to pull this out to engage or disengage your back gear. Well, this one is a little bit tricky, so you have to buy this special wrench, or you can make one on your own if you wanted to, of course. But anyways, it gets right in there and it undoes the lever, I'm just gonna call it that, and then you come over here and then you pull this one out, and what it will do is that it'll, see, it moved, that moved, it'll disengage and engage your back gear. Now the other thing is you have this step pulley here. Well, that step pulley is connected to your motor, so that'll even increase your RPM or decrease your RPM, whichever you desire. The other aspects of this thing too is, well, this little guy down here. So this right here is the gearbox that transfers the power from the shaft to the table, and this gearbox here has a gear going this way and then the other one going this way. Okay, so when you press on this lever, see, it's disengaged now, but if you watch this, it's pulled out, it's engaged. So when you press on the lever, table will be feeding by the screw here, and it'll catch on this kickoff right here with the roller, and then it'll shut off automatically. And then your table will just stop, and hopefully your work is complete. Now you can put this in reverse or in neutral by this right here. This is your drive selector. So you want to drive it forward, drive it reverse, or put it in neutral, and then you have full power of the table manually without the shaft moving. Now, this right here is your motor. That's a 1/4 horse motor. That is the original Atlas motor. And it has 2 step pulleys on it. So you have a wider band of speed to select from, just like the chart says. Now, how you go ahead and take the rigidity out of this thing is through these jam nuts here. Now there's one there, there's one there, here's one there, and there's one there, and there's one there. Now, that is for your overall arm. See, that's your arbor there. That's a 7/8 arbor. Atlas offered a 7/8 and a 1-inch. I wish I had the 1-inch, but it came with the 7/8 because all my tooling for my cutters are all 1-inch. So I have to make bushings to fit them, which is not a bad thing, but it'd be nice to have the 1-inch. This is your arm here that stabilizes it. It goes right there where the Atlas milling machine vertical attachment is, and when it's there, it stabilizes it. However, it still might not be rigid enough, and in that case, what you do is you pull this handle out, and you pull the dial out, and Atlas actually made a bar that went up and down here. Let me see if I can get a picture of it. There it is right there. That is your overarm support. Now, they still do make those reproduction. You can get one, but it really helps to take out the rigidity of the machine. I tell you, if your machine needs one of those, you're taking some serious deep cuts, and I strongly recommend to get a different machine, because this don't need to be working like a Bridgeport. I'll just put it like that. Now, the other thing that this thing offered, which might be a future project, this is the Atlas milling machine slotting attachment with the Atlas milling machine rotary table. But, you know, I made that table a long time ago, and I got that one over there, so I'm pretty good on tables right now. But if I ever come across one, it'd be nice to have. But it was made by Marvin, just like the slotting attachment and the vertical head attachment too. Marvin made it. There's a couple other companies out there that made it, but Atlas like to stick with the Marvin brand. But it's pretty simple design, really. The only thing that is different is inside here is a chain drive, and you can buy this separate online. It's just a threaded that is a sprocket that you would hook a chain up to, and then there would be two sprockets right here on the other side, and then it would be running. Then it would be running the head itself. Now you can't see it, but it is right there where the drive mechanism is. It's a pretty interesting tool, but be nice to have, but yeah, one day get around to it. So that's all I have for now. If you guys like this content, please hit that subscribe button. If you would, please hit that notification bell. That way the algorithm knows that you like this content. Later.